The universe chose you to see this before the shift. If you are reading these words right now, it is not by accident. The universe does not operate on coincidence. It operates on frequency, resonance, and divine timing. And the fact that you have found yourself here, in this exact moment, means that something within your energetic field has aligned with a frequency that is preparing you for a monumental shift. Before we go further, I need you to do something that will activate the frequency of this message. Go to the comments right now and write the number 777. This is not a random request. The number 777 is one of the most powerful spiritual sequences in existence. It represents divine alignment, spiritual awakening, and the completion of a sacred cycle. By writing 777, you are not just leaving a comment, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive what is about to unfold in your life. You are declaring that you are awake, aware, and willing to step into the timeline that has been prepared for you. Do it now. Write 777, and then return here to continue. Now that you have anchored your intention, let me tell you why you were chosen to see this message before the shift. There is a reason you are here at this precise moment in time. You may not fully understand it yet. You may not even feel ready for what is coming. But your soul has been preparing for this transition long before your conscious mind became aware of it. The universe has been orchestrating events, encounters, thoughts, and synchronicities in your life with surgical precision, all leading you to this moment of awareness. You are standing at the edge of a threshold that only a small percentage of humanity will cross at this time, not because you are better than anyone else, but because your frequency has reached a level of coherence that makes you compatible with the new reality that is forming. The shift that is approaching is not just a personal transformation, it is a collective evolutionary leap, but not everyone will experience it at the same time. The universe does not reveal its secrets to everyone simultaneously. It reveals them to those who are ready to hold the frequency of higher truth without collapsing back into fear, doubt, or disbelief. You were chosen because your energy signature has been flagged by the universe as ready for acceleration. This acceleration is not something you can force or manufacture. It is something that happens naturally when your internal frequency rises to a certain pitch, and that pitch has been building within you for weeks, perhaps months. You may have felt it as a subtle restlessness, an unexplained dissatisfaction with your current reality, a growing sense that something bigger is on the horizon even though nothing in your external circumstances has changed yet. These sensations are not signs of instability or confusion, they are signs of activation. Your soul is waking up to a version of reality that your ego has not yet comprehended. And this awakening always begins with discomfort, because the old structures within you must dissolve before the new ones can emerge. Let me be very clear about what the shift actually is. It is not an external event that happens to you. It is an internal recalibration that happens within you, and then your external reality reorganizes itself to match your new vibration. The shift is the moment when your consciousness expands beyond the limitations of your conditioned identity, and you begin operating from a place of pure alignment with your higher self. It is the moment when your intuition becomes louder than your fear. It is the moment when your inner knowing becomes more powerful than external validation. It is the moment when you stop living reactively and start living creatively, shaping your reality through the frequency you emit rather than being shaped by the circumstances around you. This shift does not happen overnight. It unfolds in stages, and each stage has its own unique characteristics and challenges. The universe brought you here now because you are in the preparatory stage, the phase where awareness becomes essential. Without awareness, the dismantling of your old reality would feel like chaos. With awareness, it becomes transformation. You are being given a roadmap before the journey intensifies so that you can navigate the terrain with clarity instead of confusion. This is an act of grace. The universe is showing you what is coming so that you can move with it rather than resist it. The first thing you need to understand about this shift is that it requires you to release your attachment to your current identity, not your entire sense of self, but the layers of conditioning, programming, and survival patterns that have defined how you operate in the world up until now. These patterns were necessary for a certain phase of your life. They helped you navigate environments that were not always safe or supportive. They protected you from emotional pain, rejection, and vulnerability. but they are also the very things that keep you locked in a limited version of reality. Your old identity was built on fear, lack, comparison, and the need for external approval. It was constructed through the accumulation of experiences that taught you to play small, to doubt yourself, to prioritize safety over truth, and to conform to expectations that were never truly yours. As the shift approaches, these layers begin to dissolve, not because you are doing something wrong, but because your frequency is rising, and anything that is not aligned with your highest truth cannot survive at higher vibrations. You may notice this dissolution happening in subtle ways at first. Old habits that once felt automatic now feel forced or empty. Relationships that once brought you comfort now feel draining or misaligned. Goals that you were once passionate about now seem hollow or unimportant. This is not depression, this is discernment. Your soul is showing you what no longer belongs in your life. And even though your ego may resist this process, desperately trying to hold on to what feels familiar, your higher self knows that everything falling away is making space for something far more aligned to enter. The second thing you need to understand is that this shift will test your faith in ways you cannot yet imagine. There will be moments when you feel completely lost, when the old reality has crumbled but the new reality has not yet solidified. This is called the void, the in-between space where you are no longer who you were but not yet who you are becoming. The void is one of the most uncomfortable phases of spiritual transformation, because the human mind craves certainty, structure, and predictability. And the void offers none of those things. It is formless, ambiguous, and deeply unsettling to the ego. But the void is also sacred. It is the cosmic womb where your new identity is being formed. It is the space where your old programming is being wiped clean, so that your soul can install new blueprints, new patterns, new ways of being that are aligned with your highest potential. Many people collapse in the void. They panic when they lose their sense of direction, and they scramble back to the familiarity of their old life, even if that old life was unfulfilling. They choose the comfort of the known over the uncertainty of the unknown. But you were chosen to see this message because you are not like most people. Emotions that you buried years ago, perhaps even decades ago, will rise to the surface to be felt, acknowledged, and released. This can be deeply uncomfortable, because it forces you to confront parts of yourself that you have been avoiding. But this emotional purging is necessary. You cannot carry unresolved emotional baggage into a higher timeline. The new reality you are stepping into requires you to be emotionally clear, unencumbered by the weight of the past. So the universe brings everything to the surface so that you can finally let it go. You may find yourself crying for no apparent reason, feeling anger that seems disproportionate to the situation, or experiencing waves of grief that come out of nowhere. These are not signs of regression, they are signs of release. Honor these emotions. Let them move through you without judgment or resistance. Every tear is a prayer, every wave of anger is a boundary being set. Every moment of grief is a liberation. Forgiveness becomes essential during this phase. Not the kind of forgiveness that pretends the harm never happened, but the kind of forgiveness that frees you from the energetic grip of past wounds. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. It is the act of releasing the energetic cord that keeps you tethered to pain. When you forgive, you are not condoning the behavior. You are choosing to stop letting that behavior define your present and future. You are reclaiming your power from the past and redirecting it toward your becoming. This is one of the most liberating acts you can perform as the shift approaches. And the more you release, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the faster your frequency rises. And the faster your frequency rises, the quicker the shift anchors into your physical reality. Now let us talk about the role of intuition in this shift. As your old identity dissolves and your new identity emerges, your intuition becomes your primary navigation system. Logic, reason, and analytical thinking have their place, but they are not equipped to guide you through a reality that is being reshaped by frequency and consciousness. Your intuition, however, is directly connected to your higher self, which exists beyond time and space. Your higher self can see the entire landscape of your life from a vantage point that your human mind cannot access. It knows which paths lead to expansion and which paths lead to stagnation. It knows which people are aligned with your highest good and which people are energy drains. It knows which opportunities are divinely orchestrated and which opportunities are distractions disguised as progress. Learning to trust your intuition is one of the most important skills you will develop during this shift. And trust does not come from thinking about your intuition. It comes from acting on it, even when it does not make logical sense. Your intuition speaks to you in subtle ways. A gentle nudge in a certain direction, a feeling of expansion when you think about a particular choice, a sense of contraction when you consider another option. These sensations are not random, they are guidance, and the more you honor them, the stronger they become. The universe rewards those who trust their inner knowing by amplifying it. Soon your intuition will not be a whisper, it will be a roar, and when that happens, you will move through life with a level of clarity and confidence that most people never experience. But here is the challenge. Your intuition will often guide you toward choices that feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, or even scary. It will ask you to leave situations that feel safe but limiting. It will prompt you to say no to opportunities that look good on paper but do not resonate with your soul. It will encourage you to take risks that your logical mind deems irrational. This is where most people falter. They hear the guidance, but they do not follow it, because it conflicts with what they have been conditioned to believe is the right or safe choice. But you were chosen to see this message because you are being prepared to follow your intuition, even when it defies logic. You are being prepared to walk by faith, not by sight. You are being prepared to trust the unseen intelligence that is guiding you toward a reality that is far more expansive than anything your mind could have planned. As the shift intensifies, you will begin to notice that your thoughts have more power than before. This is because your consciousness is becoming more coherent, which means there is less resistance between your intention and its manifestation. Thoughts that once took months or years to materialize now manifest in days or weeks. This acceleration can be exhilarating, but it also requires a new level of responsibility. You must become conscious of what you are thinking, feeling, and believing, because your internal state is now directly shaping your external reality at a much faster rate. Negative thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and fear-based narratives will manifest just as quickly as positive ones. This is why inner work becomes non-negotiable during this phase. You must clear your mental and emotional field of anything that does not align with the reality you wish to create. You must become vigilant about the stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you hold, and the energy you project into the world. This is also the time when your creative power awakens. You begin to realize that you are not a passive participant in life. You are a co-creator with the universe. Your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions are constantly broadcasting a signal, and the universe is constantly responding to that signal by organizing circumstances, opportunities, and encounters that match your vibration. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and you start consciously shaping your reality. You stop blaming external circumstances for your limitations, and you start taking full responsibility for your creative power. This does not mean you control every detail of your life. It means you align your energy with the outcomes you desire and you trust the universe to deliver them in ways that are often far better than you could have imagined. One of the most profound aspects of this shift is the realization that you are not separate from the universe. You are an expression of it. The same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of galaxies, the changing of seasons, and the beating of your heart is also orchestrating your life. You are not a random accident in a chaotic universe. You are a deliberate creation, infused with divine purpose and infinite potential. And the more you align with this truth, the more your life begins to reflect it. Miracles stop being rare occurrences and start being normal experiences. Doors open where there were once walls. Solutions appear where there was once only problems. Support arrives from unexpected sources, and the universe begins to feel less like an indifferent force and more like a loving partner, always guiding you, always supporting you, always conspiring in your favor. But this partnership requires surrender, not the kind of surrender that gives up or resigns, but the kind of surrender that releases control and trusts the flow. The ego loves control because control creates the illusion of safety. But true safety does not come from controlling external circumstances. It comes from trusting that you are always being guided toward your highest good, even when the path does not look the way you expect it. Surrender is the act of letting go of how you think things should unfold and allowing them to unfold in the way that serves your evolution most. This is one of the hardest lessons of the shift, because it requires you to release your attachment to specific outcomes and trust that the universe has something even better in store for you. As you move deeper into the shift, you will begin to experience moments of profound clarity. These moments often come out of nowhere, like a veil being lifted from your perception. Suddenly, you see your life from a higher perspective. You understand why certain things happened the way they did. You recognize the patterns that have been repeating throughout your life, and you see the lessons they were trying to teach you. You realize that nothing was wasted, nothing was random, and every experience, no matter how painful, was preparing you for this moment. These moments of clarity are gifts from your higher self, showing you the bigger picture so that you can release any lingering resentment, regret, or confusion about your past. They allow you to make peace with your journey and step into your future with a clean slate. Another profound realization that comes with the shift is the understanding that time is not linear. The past, present, and future are not separate. They are all happening simultaneously in different dimensions of consciousness. Your future self already exists in a higher timeline, and that version of you is reaching back through time to guide you toward the choices and actions that will align you with that timeline. This is how manifestation actually works. You are not creating something from nothing. You are aligning with a version of reality that already exists in the quantum field. And the more you attune your frequency to that reality, the more it collapses into your present experience. This is why visualization, affirmation, and energy work are so powerful. They are not just positive thinking exercises. They are tools that help you tune into the frequency of your desired reality so that your present moment can catch up with it. The shift also brings a deepening of your spiritual connection. Whether you have a relationship with a higher power, the universe, source, God, or your own inner divinity, that connection becomes more tangible, more intimate, more undeniable. You begin to feel held by something greater than yourself. You begin to sense that you are never alone, that you are always supported, that there is a benevolent intelligence watching over your journey and guiding you toward your highest expression. This connection is not something you have to search for or earn. It has always been there. The shift simply removes the layers of conditioning, doubt, and fear that obscured it. And as those layers fall away, your spiritual connection shines through with a clarity that brings profound peace, trust, and surrender. You may also notice that your perception of yourself begins to change. The harsh judgments, the constant self-criticism, the feeling of never being enough, all of these distortions start to dissolve. You begin to see yourself through the eyes of your soul rather than the eyes of your wounded ego. And your soul does not see flaws, inadequacies, or failures. Your soul sees a magnificent being on a sacred journey, learning, growing, evolving with every experience. Your soul sees your beauty, your strength, your resilience, your courage. And as you begin to see yourself this way, your entire reality transforms. Because the way you see yourself determines the way you show up in the world. And the way you show up in the world determines what you attract into your life. Self-love stops being a concept and starts being a practice. Not the superficial kind of self-love that is all about bubble baths and affirmations, but the deep soul-level self-love that honors your truth, sets boundaries, prioritizes your well-being, and refuses to abandon yourself for anyone or anything. This kind of self-love is revolutionary because it dismantles the patterns of people-pleasing, self-sacrifice, and worthiness wounds that have kept you small. It declares that you are valuable simply because you exist, not because of what you do, achieve, or offer to others. And when you embody this level of self-love, you become magnetic. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect the value you have claimed for yourself. As the external shifts begin to manifest, you may feel disoriented at first. Things will start changing rapidly. Relationships will shift. Job situations will transform. Living arrangements may change. New opportunities will appear seemingly out of nowhere. And while all of this is ultimately leading you toward a more aligned reality, the speed of change can feel overwhelming. This is why the universe brought you here before the shift fully anchors, so that you would have the awareness to navigate the external changes with grace instead of fear. so that you would understand that the dismantling of your old life is not a collapse but a reconstruction, so that you would trust the process even when it feels chaotic. During this time, it is essential to stay grounded. Grounding practices become your anchor when everything around you is shifting. Spend time in nature. Walk barefoot on the earth. Practice breathwork. Meditate. Move your body. These simple acts help your nervous system regulate and your energy field stabilize as you integrate the higher frequencies flooding into your system. Grounding is not about resisting the shift. It is about allowing the shift to move through you without destabilizing you. It is about staying present in your body, even as your consciousness expands beyond it. The shift will also bring new people into your life, people who are vibrating at the same frequency you are stepping into. These connections will feel different from anything you have experienced before. There will be an instant recognition, a sense of familiarity, even though you have just met. Conversations will flow effortlessly. There will be mutual respect, reciprocity, and a shared understanding that requires no explanation. These are your soul family, the people who are here to support your evolution and co-create with you in this new timeline. Some of these connections will be brief, lasting only as long as needed for a specific lesson or exchange of energy. Others will be lifelong, but all of them will be significant. The universe does not bring anyone into your life by accident, especially during a shift of this magnitude. You may also find yourself drawn to new knowledge, new teachings, new modalities of healing and growth. Your soul is guiding you toward the tools and information you need to navigate this transition. Follow these impulses. Read the books that call to you. Explore the practices that intrigue you. Listen to the teachers whose words resonate with your soul. But also be discerning. Not everything that is labeled as spiritual or enlightening is actually aligned with truth. Trust your inner knowing above all else. If something feels off, honor that feeling. Your intuition is your best filter in a world full of information and noise. As you continue to rise in frequency, you will also become more aware of your purpose. Not the kind of purpose that is defined by a career or a specific role, but the soul-level purpose that you came here to fulfill. This purpose is not something you have to figure out or search for. It is something that reveals itself naturally as you align with your highest truth. Your purpose is encoded in your frequency. It is the unique expression of your gifts, your passions, your experiences, and your values. And as you step into your power, your purpose becomes clear. Not as a grand mission that you must accomplish, but as a way of being that you naturally embody. Your purpose is not what you do. It is who you are. And the more you become yourself, the more your purpose unfolds. The shift is also teaching you about energy management. You are learning that your energy is your most valuable resource, and that how you invest it determines the quality of your life. You are learning to say no to things that drain you, even if they seem important or urgent. You are learning to prioritize rest, joy, and alignment over productivity and achievement. You are learning that doing less with intention is far more powerful than doing more out of obligation. This recalibration of your relationship with energy is essential for the new timeline you are entering. Because in the higher dimensions of consciousness, force and effort are replaced by flow and alignment. You stop pushing and start allowing. You stop striving and start receiving. You stop proving and start being. One of the final stages of the shift is integration. This is when all the internal changes you have been experiencing begin to solidify into a new baseline. The emotional ups and downs stabilize. The moments of clarity become your new normal. The intuitive hits that once felt sporadic now flow consistently. You begin to operate from a place of inner peace, trust and alignment most of the time. Not because your life is perfect or free from challenges, but because you have anchored into a higher state of consciousness that allows you to navigate challenges with grace, wisdom and resilience. Integration is the phase where your new identity becomes embodied, where the person you have been becoming finally becomes who you are. This integration process is gradual. It does not happen all at once. There will still be moments when you slip back into old patterns, when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to pull you back to what feels familiar. But these moments will become less frequent and less intense over time. And each time you choose alignment over fear, truth over comfort, expansion over safety, You are reinforcing your new identity. You are proving to yourself and to the universe that you are committed to this path. And the universe responds to that commitment by opening more doors, creating more synchronicities, and aligning more magic in your life. As you look back on this journey, you will see how everything was perfectly orchestrated. You will see how every challenge was a catalyst for growth, how every ending was making space for a new beginning, how every moment of doubt was actually an invitation to trust more deeply, how every person who left your life was creating space for someone more aligned to enter, how every synchronicity was the universe confirming that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and you will feel immense gratitude for the journey, even the painful parts, because you will understand that it was all necessary to bring you to this moment. The shift is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where you are no longer living from survival, fear or limitation, a chapter where you are living from alignment, truth and infinite potential, a chapter where you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a conscious creator of your reality, a chapter where you are no longer searching for yourself but embodying yourself. This is what you were chosen for. This is what you have been preparing for. This is what your soul has been calling you toward all along. So as you step fully into this shift, remember that you are not alone. You are supported by forces seen and unseen. You are guided by a wisdom that transcends your human understanding. You are loved by a universe that is always conspiring in your favor, and you are becoming the highest version of yourself, the version that your soul has always known you could be. Trust the process, honor the journey, embrace the shift, because on the other side of this transformation is a life beyond anything you have imagined. A life where magic is normal, where miracles are expected, where alignment is effortless, and where you finally understand that you are not just living in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through your unique expression. The universe chose you to see this before the shift for one reason and one reason only. Because you are ready, not perfect, not fully healed, not without fear or doubt, but ready, ready to trust, ready to surrender, ready to become. And that readiness is all the universe needs to move mountains on your behalf. So step forward with courage. The shift is here, your new timeline is waiting, and you are exactly where you are meant to be.